What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Real Estate. Today we have Brendan and Austin from our team. They have been licensed for now about a year, right? A year this last month.
Yes, sir.
Right? So what's that been like?
It's been a fun journey.
Yeah?
Learned a lot so far, yeah.
What's been fun?
Just getting to meet a whole bunch of different new people. I feel like in real estate compared to where I was coming from before, and things like customer service, you have like a set crowd of people that, come into your store or whatnot. In real estate, you get to, meet all kinds of different people. And there's just so much to learn.
All right.
Yeah.
How about you, Austin?
It's been an adventure for sure. I mean, it's definitely something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
You run into, everybody who's been in the game will tell you, there's never the same day. You show up one day, you can have a deal, next day you don't.
Right.
But it's definitely been a great journey. It's something that I love and I've developed a passion for sure.
Sure. All right. So what were you doing before?
So I just came out of college. I played baseball at University of Maryland, and this was like really my first real job.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew this is something that I was passionate about.
I came from managing a GNC and alternative medicine clinic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you had your own smoothie business for a while at a gym, I think, too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
At Forza.
Yeah. So what made you want to get your real estate license?
Well, definitely, I've always been involved in some sort of sales in my job, so I definitely have a passion for that. And just, there's no cap on income in this industry, so that was definitely a huge, pretty much everywhere else I worked, there was just...
You can only
so
stop
much,
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How about you?
I developed a passion mainly for the real estate investment game, and I knew that I wanted to be in the industry somehow. And then watched $1 Million thing a few times, sparked my interest, studied those type of people, and I was like, this is kind of something I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I remember. We were on a call with Ryan Serhant, and he was talking about from $1 Million listing, basically that, don't believe what you see on TV. The average days on market there was around 448 days pre-COVID. Obviously it's a lot lower now. But so what was it like getting licensed going through COVID, and how has it changed now?
Well, I did everything online to get licensed. I did the CE shop classes. It only didn't take very long. I think the CE shop only took about a month, maybe a month and a half to pass that. And
sure.
The actual Realtor exam, had to take that a couple times.
It's all right. Who didn't? I took it 3 times. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like it was a good time to strike just because everything was at a halt. I was still in college. I was in that transition. And to be honest, I didn't really have a whole lot to do because you're just locked in your house. So I was like, let me just knock this out. Started the classes, like you said, online. I did Real Estate Express, which is about the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
Once I did that, it was pretty quick turnaround. I failed the test the first time, but passed it the second. And by the time COVID was on the back end, well, at least I thought, I was ready to go.
Sure. So why did you join a team? Why didn't you go out on your own?
Start with that.
Well, I did tons of research before getting into real estate, and everywhere I read, every realtor just recommend that you join a team because, being an individual realtor, I feel like they don't have as many resources. There's always someone here that we can rely on, whether it be you, Lee, Paul, Reed, any of the veteran agents, really. I mean, we can always get an answer when we need it.
Sure.
So I thought that was very helpful, for sure, and I don't like to work by myself, really. I prefer to be on a team, work with
people.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly, not just myself.
Sure.
Yeah. For me, it was more of like a no-brainer. I mean, I'm super young. I got in at 22, so I was like, okay, I need to be with people that could surround myself that can grow me as a business person, as a real estate professional, and you really can't do that at such a young age if you don't have the right people to learn from, because it gets you in this business, but it'll be pretty quick out too.
Sure.
So I wanted to be around, guys like you, Lee, all of our veteran agents, Reed, Paul, to develop my craft.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what have been some of your biggest learning lessons, I guess, in the last year? Or let's revert back. So the market last year was an absolute shit show, even going into this year, and it finally softened up, I guess, around the summertime when they started jacking the interest rates up to, pull people back from wanting to buy. What was that like last year, and how does it compare to this year? What's the differences that you're seeing from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I personally will tell you it was actually a blessing in disguise. In the moment when you were competing with 15 other people in one house, I was like, oh shit, like this is serious. Like I'm getting my doors blown off. But as I learned from guys like you, Lee, and just asking questions, constantly being in the office and just developing my skill, you start to realize the transition of growth that you have from your skill set, whether it's negotiating, how to talk to people over the phone, finding them the right house and getting people to do, what they need for the best interest. And then once it slowed down a little bit, it was night and day. Like it was almost like if there's another offer 1 to 2, I knew I was going to beat them because I knew how to handle that situation.
Good. All right. How about with you?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, everything was overwhelming. I mean, simply just learning the entire contract and, having to explain that to a client.
Yeah.
It took, I'd say, a solid month to really.
Is that something they
understand
taught
everything.
you when you guys were in real estate school? How to present a contract, or what addendums are in a contract, or what a contract is, or how to fill it in, or any of that shit?
Absolutely not.
So that's super helpful.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, that's the problem, right? When you get in the business and you think, I'm ready. You're not. That contract's 45 to 48 pages, sometimes even upwards to 60.
Right.
And you got to present that to them. You got to know the contract.
Right.
Someone who just comes in the business is not going to be ready for that. You're going to need people who've already done this over and over again. People are doing hundreds of deals on this team. Guys like that you can look, like Reed, he knows the contract in and out. You know the contract in and out. That to me is the biggest piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the beginning, I mean, role-playing that with you or any of the veteran agents in the office was definitely helpful because, like you said, in real estate school, they don't teach you anything about the contract, really. It's
how to stay out of jail.
I can't. The stuff that I learned in real estate school, I just don't even feel like I've used it at all, really. So far, everything I've learned that has actually meant something has come from the training that I've had here.
Yeah, they don't teach you how to run a business, or you have a business within a business.
Right.
Right. You control how much you're going to make or not make.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to have a shitty day or a good day, you have complete control of your day.
Yeah. Well, Brandon can vouch for this. I remember me and him both had this experience. We both had very analytical clients, and presenting a contract was what we talked about. Like I remember you told me you need to know the contract inside and out, and
backwards.
Yeah.
So you're presenting it. I mean, I'm presenting it to you like this. If I'm reading it like this, you're gonna think I'm an asshole. I don't know what I'm talking about.
And I didn't realize until that time actually come. But because we role played it and we sat down and we literally had tests on it. Like this is what you got to do. If I'm a client who wants to know about this contract, present it to me, and I was prepared for that. I listened to him over the phone when he did it, and when you're in our pod, and it was so smooth. But it was because we mastered that craft over time. If I didn't have that training, there's no way that I would be able to. I would have crumbled under pressure.
Yeah, just in general, learning how to present things to clients in an efficient way was probably one of the biggest learning curves in the very beginning. I think now that we're both past that, it's really just. I mean, one other thing I want to mention too is. Just learning how to identify problems before clients ask about them in houses was definitely another big thing that I tried to focus on in the beginning.
Why?
Well, because I didn't really have a choice. They started to come up, and things.
You had a couple deals in the beginning. I remember that had blown up, right?
Like,
what was it? The inspections, right?
Deal, yeah. I mean, I couldn't have spotted that one even if I wanted to because it was the septic, but identifying things like termites, mold, cracks in the foundation, being able to tell clients what that actually is, everything. It provides value to them, and they appreciate that when you tell it to them.
Right. We're not door openers.
Yeah.
We're here. We're here to help them, right?
Yeah, and in the beginning when I couldn't identify the problems, obviously I don't want to stand there and look like an idiot. So I would take a lot of time out of my day to literally go on. God, I don't know. I would just go on YouTube and start learning about HVAC systems and hot water heaters
right.
and roofs, siding,
what to look out
windows, for. Yeah. So that really helped for sure too.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people hide stuff too. You see all these like the one you had. It was the lipstick on a pig. It looked pretty to the buyer's eye, and then once you start looking at it, the walls are jacked up, or it's got termite damage. There's the ceiling's caving in, it's flooding, all these things, and then the buyer's freaked out. The agent on the other end may or may not ever disclose it to another client, but deal blows up, and we're starting to see that again here now. The last 2 years, I mean, give or take. People would give their kidney, their firstborn, whatever they could to get the offer accepted, and the seller, may or may not take it, get $100,000 over the asking price,
Right.
and now it's 100% on the flip side, where you're seeing buyers asking for closing help again, and they're getting it, and the houses are overpriced, and the inventory is increasing, and everyone thinks it's this horrible time to buy, and it's the best time to buy in the last 2 years. You're not. I mean, you lost out on a house they bid $100,000 over.
Yeah.
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 Right.
Your offer was pretty close.
And your
to
offer
that,
was
too.
solid,
Yeah, it
right?
was- yeah.
Like, you had a great offer, and you still lost it because
No
someone else
inspections, no
said,
appraisal
"Yeah,
contingency,
I'm just going to take this," like,
free 90-day rent back. Like,
right, just everything.
Right.
And now it's coming back around, and you're starting to see the price drops, and like I said, the inspections again, and that's a transition, especially for other agents that are now getting out of the business again because they can't make it in the business right now.
Well, that's the big separation now. You're going to see a lot of agents, like the natural selection, see it. Because the people don't have the necessary training. They're not prepared. Like, what's great about what we do here is that we prepare for any market. There is no excuse, the market sucks. Like, if that's how you think you don't belong here, you go by yourself and figure it out.
Right.
What do you have to do to present the best opportunity for not only yourself but your clients?
But yeah, the market is so shitty right now that 2 of our agents had 10 settlements each this last month. It's pretty bad.
Right.
It's horrible.
Exactly.
Don't buy a house. It's terrible. All right. So how are you generating business? Like, what are you doing right now? Someone's brand new. What's a good way for them to come in and start generating business for themselves?
First and foremost, get on the phone and get face to face with people. Like, that's the most underrated thing ever. I know a lot of people emphasize networking, but a lot of people don't know how to network. It's just building relationships. Like, if I go out and try to shove business in people's throats, they're not going to want to work with me. It's a transactional relationship. Like, we emphasize building a relationship. If you're on the phone, make calls, check in with people, work your sphere.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would say a lot of the same things. Obviously, definitely contact your sphere, friends, family. The top 50 list is super helpful because if you have that list of people in front of you every day, it's and here one of our trackers is call at least 3 of them per day.
3 of your top 50 people a day.
Right.
Right.
And as you keep doing that, eventually your aunt, your uncle, grandfather, best friend, someone's going to know someone that wants to buy. And
Right.
obviously, if they're in your top 50, you have a good relationship with them and they'll refer you business. And then, like he said, set time aside to make cold calls for sure. And fortunately that, the fact we're on a team, we get a lot of generated leads from Zillow, GLS, like we have tons of sources that they come through.
Sure.
So that's great. And follow up. We always talk about A buyers, follow up with them twice a week. B buyers, every couple weeks or so. And then, just luckily we have a great database that keeps us in sync with all those clients. And, we set reminders to follow up with them, things like that.
Okay. So how are you guys structuring your day? Like, what's your Monday through Friday, weekends? Like, how are you structuring it? Because people come in, they don't have a 9 to 5 now. It could be a 8 to 8. It could be a 8 to 12. You could have 10-hour day. You can have a 14-hour day. You can have a 60-hour work week. Like, it doesn't stop if you don't want it to.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
First and foremost, blocking your day off. Like when you talked about this, you always say, if it's not my Google Calendar, it doesn't matter. So when something's in my Google Calendar, that's what it's for. I'm going to make sure I'm there. Nothing else matters.
Right.
So like our morning is just the morning meeting. It's going over the market. It's going over, updates, whether it's contracts, whatever it is. Role play so that, let's say you're warming up over the phone with one of your fellow agents so that when you go on the phone, which is what we have our power hour for, you make the calls and set that time aside to make the cold calls.
Just get it out ahead of time.
Correct.
Right.
So.
How's yours? Very similar?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have our meetings every morning at 9, which provides great information. Lee always talks about the market and what to remember in terms of statistics, and then we go right into the power hour, an hour of prospecting, cold calling, or whether it be calling Sphere a certain day, cold calls the next day, or just following up with leads that are in our own database. After that, usually it's something along the lines of more research, checking into the auto searches that we have set up for our clients. I always try to, if I see like a hot listing that I think one of my buyers might like, I'm going to tell them about it through text message, because not everyone checks their searches every single day. So if I see something I like, I'm going to
Hop on
send
it
it to
for
them
them,
right
right.
away, because you never know when it's going to sell. In the beginning of the year, that was especially important, because houses were only sitting on the market for
An hour.
3, 4,
Right.
literally sometimes an hour. Sometimes they go before they even went active. So
you kind of get like a padding in the middle of the day where you can
Yeah.
do your errands or
Yeah.
go to lunch or go see people or, go to the gym or whatever it is that you want to do. And then, you can conduct business as usual when you're ready.
Yeah, that's the key part, because when you block your time ahead of time, you set the expectation for yourself. So if you get a client call, you say, hey, I saw this property on the auto search, whatever. What time is it available? Well, your time's valuable too. So you want to make sure that you block it across, because you have family, you have other stuff going on in your life. You want to make sure you also have time for that too.
Right.
Because as real estate agents, when you do get busy, especially when you're here and you're getting a ton of people coming in, it's like overwhelming, and you got to make time for what's important too.
Yeah, just prioritizing.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, 1 to 3 is usually like the least busiest time of day. I feel like usually I'm busy between like 4 and 8, because that's when we're doing the showings. We're out on the road, driving around, calling listing agents, asking them questions that our buyers have,
Yeah.
whatnot, things like that. And then someone wants to write a contract. Sometimes I'm up till 9, 10 o'clock doing that. So,
Sure. Okay. And then you guys, obviously are big. We talk about your sphere and your top 50 and your friends and family, the people that know, like, and trust you that are, going to give you business, because why would you want them to work with someone else? I mean, the average agent, just through June, there's 1.6 million agents. 1.3 of them have sold 3 or less houses. You had 8 the first quarter. You had 4 just last month. Like, I mean, you guys are both going to exceed, the 16 range in your first full year. What's the difference?
Well, we have great leadership here. I don't think I wouldn't have been.
We
able
didn't
to do
pay
it
them to
without-
say any of this shit. All right. It's unscripted.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
When it
we both have strong work ethics.
Yeah, that-
You do.
I'll
I'll
say
give you
that.
both that.
Yeah. So obviously we want to make money. It's
You got to want it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll be honest, like, if you get in this business kind of, what we used to always say, is kind of wanting it, you're not going to survive. This business will eat you alive. You have to push through, and you got to make a decision and be 100%. Like, there is no hesitating. And once you do it, you start to see the fruits of your labor start to pay off, and it takes a little bit to get started. It took me a lot longer. He came in, you was on fire. Like, he was a lot more seasoned than I
Right.
was.
Well, he
from the
pushed
jump.
you too at the
Yeah.
same time, and then you guys push each other.
Correct, and that's the competition. I mean,
Right.
you got to have that competitive nature to make it too, because it's like I see him do well. It's like, okay, well, if he's making 20 calls, I'm making 25 calls. Like, it's that mindset.
That's good though. Competitiveness is going to push you there.
Yeah, no, that definitely kicks in. I mean, the fact that we have leaderboards,
Yeah.
Sisu, just looking at that, I mean, obviously, any competitor is going to want to be at the top, closest to number 1 as they can.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's the emphasis, and I think the reason why we push so hard is because we focus on the marathon. We talk about the business plans, stuff like that.
Not having that lull where everyone gets real busy and then they get slow for 3 months and they get busy again, then they take off for the holidays. I mean, the amount of people that call in of people's clients that end up wanting to jump ship because their agent's not available at the holidays is coming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane, especially, COVID started. Again, same thing. My agent's not showing houses right now. I can't get a hold of my agent. They're on vacation. They're here. They're there. They're everywhere else. I just can't get them to see a house. I mean, how many people will call in and, hey, do you have an agent? I mean, part of your scripting, obviously, is to go through and make sure you're not wasting your time or wasting theirs or wasting the sellers. Like, hey, do you have an agent that you're working with? Oh, yeah, my agent's on vacation. All right, well, you have to call your agent, or your agent has to have someone set up. Or unfortunately, like we again are not door openers, right? That's the biggest misconception. Let me call the agent on the sign. They're actually representing that individual seller. The good thing, at least if someone calls here on a sign, they're getting one of you guys.
Right.
You're not representing the seller. Reed or Paul or someone else is probably representing that seller at that time.
Right.
So there's no conflict of interest.
You have to be prepared also to script that. Like, if you don't understand, like, people in the beginning, and I did it. I got screwed over a few times because I just go show people houses. I wasn't seasoned enough to be on the phone and have those it's a little uncomfortable sometimes to have those conversations. But once you do, you learn it, and it saves you a lot of time as an agent as well.
Okay. So back to that point, what would you say maybe the biggest top 3, whatever things you wish you would have done last year that you probably were told to do that didn't do? Similarly, verifying that someone has an agent ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
That came back and bit you in the ass.
You want to start with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple of stories regarding that topic. So, I mean, yeah, in the beginning, sometimes you forget to ask if they have an agent or not, and I did it. And unfortunately, I set up a showing for a lady one day, and I think it was in Middle River. It was for Joe's listing, if I remember correctly. And she showed up, with her own agent.
Bet you felt
And it was
pretty awesome at that point in time.
Showing.
Super awkward.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I just had to tell her I was under the impression that you were going to meet me here for me to show you the house, but clearly you have an agent, so.
Learning lesson number 1.
yeah.
How about number 2?
Yeah. So my biggest thing in the beginning was I like to do stuff myself and learn by myself. I don't like to ask a lot of questions. I don't like to bug people. And I learned to say that you can't have that mindset, especially when you're calling people, because everybody thinks, well, I don't want to bug them. No.
They reached out, call them.
Correct. You got to reach out to people, and you have to, even if you have a question, reach out to someone that knows more than you do. And sometimes you got to just face reality. Like, I'm not, even if I bug them, I need the help.
We get calls all the time, or I get calls from other agents that are not here that have questions like, have you guys seen this?
Yeah.
I mean, there's over 400 deals a year closing. There's a lot of deals blowing up. There's deals, that are sticking together, but obviously getting through all those hoops is a big thing. New contract, new addendums, all that stuff just came out. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. That's a constant right now. Before we wrap up, what would be like your biggest piece of advice for a brand new person coming into the business?
Join a team, for
Okay.
sure. Just you got to study everything. You have to really be self-accountable. You have to want to learn things on your own, because you're not always going to know the answer to everything. And if you are an individual agent, you're not going to have those resources around you so you're really just going to have to learn a lot of things on your own. But at the same time, I mean, don't be afraid to take a big leap and take on the challenges, no matter what type of client it is, whether it's an investor. I mean, when I first started, they were always a huge challenge because they ask
A lot of questions.
things that I have no idea about. Wasn't taught anything about real estate investing in real estate school.
Yeah.
So, but you, just like everything, you live and you learn. So don't be afraid to take on new challenges, because it's only going to be a learning experience.
Yeah. I mean, to tie
end of the day.
into that, my biggest advice was get comfortable with being uncomfortable and be persistent. Show up every day, be ready to work, go through the ups and downs and just stick with it. It'll work out of that.
All right, sounds good. Well, that is a wrap, everybody. If you have questions, reach out to us. Again, our office number is 410-638-9555. Thanks.